we got exposed at times. Thought the quarterback played pretty well when given an opportunity to execute. I thought he was tuned in pretty good. I thought he missed on 2 throws and made some plays. But we're not quite physical enough up front right now to handle those guys. Defensively, the first couple drives, I thought we were real average. And then from that point on, we played pretty good, but they're on the field the entire game. And because of that, it's really hard to tell how they played. But I thought they came back and had some fight in them late in the second quarter. And then really in the second half, they're just on the field too much. Our return game was good. Our coverage game was good. I was all right with special teams. But really, it's the long and short of it is they're too physical for us up front on the offensive line, and we've got to get some guys to mature a little bit and grow up. And we've got to get stronger. We've got to get a little help up there, and it'll make us a better football team.
Mike, productivity-wise, offensively, does it matter who the opponent is now? Are you just struggling no matter who you play, or did they have a lot to do with
I think they're pretty good, Junior, up front. I think they're physical. And they manhandled us, and so it makes it difficult to function.
Mike, you've had a few games here where the margin has been pretty big, and you go into that locker room. Has the guys' demeanor changed over this stretch of time? How have they taken these losses now after the 4th one?
Well, nobody likes to lose. You're talking about a group of guys in an organization that has won a lot of football games. And so when you don't play as well as you want to, then nobody likes it.
Do you want them to show some anger? Do you want to see that fire in them after a game like this?
Well, I want them to care, but I also want them to keep control and continue to work together as a team. I'm not sure anger and frustration is a positive resource for improvement.
Did you see any? Buddy said you thought Dax, when he was given time, played okay. Did you see anybody else offensively that you thought showed you something? It seemed like you had some fight there in the 4th quarter when you were down.
Well, we had fight. It's just it's real simple that their front's pretty good, Robert, and it's not a good matchup for us. And when you get whipped and you can't run the ball, and then when you struggle in pass protection, it's really hard to kind of identify things. And we tried to move the ball around some different formations, and they were really able to contain us. And when that happens, it's kind of hard to explain, but you go from one extreme to the other, and we need some maturity, we need some strength. Guys need to grow up a little bit up front, and we need a little help there, and it'll make us a better football team. When I was referring to Dax, I thought he played pretty good, but we don't really know because we haven't watched the tape. But when given time, I thought he threw the ball around pretty well.
How does he handle, after he was sacked a few times in the first half, do his eyes stay downfield, did you feel like, the rest of the game? Or
He's done really well.
How do you keep morale up as you look ahead? 2 games left, both away, both against teams that are near the top of the league.
Well, you don't have a choice. You come back to work, and as coaches, we have to put our pride aside and look at game plans and identify where we made good decisions, made poor decisions, and try to put the players in a best opportunity for success, in the best position, and you just keep working. It's just kind of the way it is. I wouldn't know any other way to handle it, so you're up front and honest with them, and guys that play hard and give you good effort, you compliment them for it. If you had guys that maybe weren't playing as hard, we see on plays that didn't finish, then we talk to them about it. And we also have to be very critical of ourselves as coaches, where our plans were good and where our plans weren't good, and move forward to the next game.
Because of where you are on the offensive line, Mike, do you know how good Dax is, or do you know how good your receivers and your backs are or can be going forward? I mean, does it limit your ability to even appraise those guys?
Well, we have a pretty good idea because we see them in practice all the time, and so we like where we're at there. We're just this is not a secret. We knew this coming into the season, and the guys are giving effort, but there's a couple spots where we're not as strong and we're not as experienced. And when you run into guys that are they have a good defensive front, and it makes it difficult.
You moved Crispy to right tackle for this game? Something that you just were hoping that might give you a different look, or?
Tried to get some help on the edge and protection at times, out on the outside, a little more maturity than what we'd had. We'd been playing freshman there, and so we felt like we'd move him out and give us a little bit of help there and move the freshman inside. Sophomore, I should say.
You seem, fairly calm, so does that mean that you see things going forward? Say the bowl streak ends or whatever this year, say that happens, but it sounds like you're confident that this is just going to be an anomaly and you'll pick back up where you have been the last decade starting next year.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in where we're at. The one thing is that my responsibility is to look and see who we are and where we're at and get the guys to play hard and keep everybody together. And so I have a pretty good feel for most things that are going on. And so as people would want you to panic and get upset and show frustration and anger, I just don't believe in that.
You said, like we said before the season, you knew, what you had coming in off the line and how young this team was, but did you see it to this extent where the offense, 3 touchdowns, I think, in the last 18 quarters, did you see it to this extent?
I can't think that far ahead.
Sometimes you'll talk about running into people at the gas station or at the coffee shop. When you run into those people these days, what's kind of your message to them if they ask you, hey, where are we going?
Well, the same message I give to you guys is that we have quality young people in our program, and that we need to continue to work and develop some maturity and experience on the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, we're still young at times, when most of the plays where our guys have gotten beat deep and given up chunk plays on defense have been against freshmen. And those guys will be better next year.
You said earlier you have a lot of confidence where you're at. Is that why? Those things you just mentioned, or is it something else?
What do you mean?
You said, when Bob asked you about sort of looking ahead, you said you had a lot of confidence where the program is. Where does that confidence stem from?
Well, I just have a good feel with the guys that are in our program, and I'm trying to put it as simple as possible, that when you play with young players that are lacking experience, and they're going to make mistakes and they're not going to look as good as you want them to, but they'll continue to get a little better, and they'll make some plays.
What are your this is week 10.
No, go ahead.
This is week 10 of the football season. And are you satisfied with the progress that these young kids are making?
I like where our young guys are progressing. Certainly never satisfied with losing. Ultimately, we try to win each week, and there's a lot of hard work that goes in with the players. And when you don't win, it's difficult for them. But it's kind of the way life is. They have a responsibility, and we do as coaches to come back and fight. And that's the only way that we've ever seen it.
What are your offensive expectations for these last 2 games? Where do you really think you'll be?
Well, first off, I have a hard time thinking past tomorrow's practice, much the next 2 games. And we want to continue to improve. And there have been times over the last few weeks that we have. But we played, in my opinion, as physical of a defensive front as that we've seen all year. And the matchup was not great for our team.